Today, as you can see, we have the lovely Lisa Potvin with the City of Concord. She is new to the Economic Development team, and we'll learn a little bit more about her. But we're very excited to have her on representing Concord, and we'll learn more about what she has planned for downtown. Forgot to mention she's a downtown program manager, so she has all the ins and the outs. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in Concord?
Yeah, so I actually came to Concord for the position.
Okay.
I was down in Los Angeles working in events. And when I saw this position come up, it just felt like the perfect role for me. And I got so excited about it and applied and started coming up for interviews. And it really just felt like it was meant to be. I love the Bay Area. I love the lifestyle up here. And I'm really excited to be here and joining the City of Concord team.
Had you been to the Bay Area before coming up here for the position and interviewing?
I had come up to see friends. I've never been to the Bay before. And so it's kind of crazy, but some of the friends I made when I was working in Japan and living out there back in college, a whole group of them live here.
Okay.
And every time I was driving up the coast or, up to Oregon or something, I'd always stop in the Bay to see them. And it's just like, this is the lifestyle I love. Everyone in the Bay is so nice and relaxed, and they just want to like kayak and hike and go to the city, and that's the life I want to live.
And you have the best of both worlds. You can be at the mountains in 2 hours, or you can be at the ocean in 2 hours, or less.
Concord's amazing. It's like, 40 minutes to the city and 40 minutes to Napa.
So are you originally from the Los Angeles area?
I was born and raised in Orange County, so just south. So that's where kind of the surfing vibe comes from.
Yeah, okay. And then you mentioned Oregon. What did you do up there?
I am an Oregon State Beaver. So I graduated from Oregon State. And that's actually where I got my foothold in events. I worked full-time for the university after I graduated.
Oh, wow. Good for you. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a really cool experience. I started out, I was working at the front desk of the Memorial Union, which is basically like the living room of campus, and it's where all of the events happen. And I went to my boss and I was like, I want to be in events. Will you take me under your wing? And her name's Deb, and she'd been in the industry for 40 years at that point. And she was like, yeah. She's like, you have an internship now. And so I interned for her for 2 years. And then when it came time to graduate, she's like, so what are your plans? And I was like, oh, well, I, am going over here and I'm going to do this. And she's like, oh no, like, I thought I got to you fast enough. Like, you're going to stay and work. Okay.
Sure.
Sure. My other plans, they were just plans,
Yeah. It's funny how things like that happen. They just fall in your lap.
Yeah, definitely. And I got so lucky with that role. I mean, I was just really lucky.
So wait, I'm sorry. You might have said this. What did you go to school for?
I started out actually doing a double degree in education and history. And my sophomore year, I switched to merchandising management with an emphasis in event coordination.
Okay.
And then I was doing like 18 to 20 credits a semester. And with the Memorial Union until I graduated, just because I was like, once I found what I wanted to do, I was like, this is what I care about.
That's awesome.
Cool, because the Memorial Union, I mean, we would have 30 events going on a day and then a large festival outside at night. So I got to see what it was like to plan a convention and plan a concert all in this one job.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing experience.
All while going to school too.
Yeah, while I was in school and then after.
Wow, 18 units in general is a lot to handle, plus then everything that you were just doing.
I didn't sleep much.
I bet. So you got your start in events, and and I'm sorry, I am admitting I did this. I looked you up on LinkedIn just to make sure I had all my facts right.
Yeah, no worries.
But you have CFEE behind your name.
Mm-hmm.
And so you went through the International Festivals and Events Association Certified Festival and Event Executive Program. That is a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
But can you tell us about that and what that is?
Yeah, definitely. So the CFEE program it's pretty extensive. So to get into it, you have to apply and have 5 years of event experience behind you before you walk in the door. And then from there, you attend 6 days of 8-hour classes. Both of these are before the conference each year. And then at the conference, you have to attend at least 10 sessions and get them signed off by the presenter. And then over the 2 years, you have to teach a class. So I taught a class about risk management at a junior college, and then write 2 case studies, which are reviewed by the World Board. And the World Board has members from, like the Macy Thanksgiving Day Parade, people who've worked on the Olympics, the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Read your case study to make sure you have the knowledge base and are doing what they would do. And then you have to be published. And so I wrote an article about integrating strategies and services for guests with cognitive disabilities into your events.
Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so it was really cool. It was a great certification program. I believe there's about 5 of us in California with the CFEE title.
That's it.
Yeah, it's
wow.
tough to get through, to be honest. I mean, it's a lot of work and you're being graded on everything. So even the class that I taught, everyone in that class was examining me back. So they were students, but they got to write up a report and give me a rating. And if I didn't get a high enough rating that was sent back to the IFEA, I'd have to redo it.
That's stressful.
it was really stressful.
Wow.
But the best thing I ever did, and the connections I made during that program are just, I mean, unbelievable. If I have a question, like I just call up people who have, 30 plus years in the industry.
Right.
And, I've created, safety plans and then sent them to people across the nation. And so it's just this give and take in the event industry, because one thing we truly believe in is if we're not in competition with each other.
Right.
If something goes wrong at an event in, Tennessee, that's going to be a reflection on my event in California.
Right.
Because anytime something goes wrong at an event, that's going to go viral. So
that's very true, especially with social media nowadays. It's the click of a button and everyone knows about it.
Exactly. So the more we help each other, the better off we all are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So 5 people in California, and you are one of those 5.
I am one of those 5. Yeah.
But it's nice to know, too, that you have those connections with people that I'm sure you've connected with them in recent months with the shelter in place to see what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, we've really come together as an industry, like more so than I've ever seen before, to be honest. And this week, one of my mentors actually asked me to be on a committee for what reopening will look like. So there's 20 of us from around the world that are on this committee, and we're going to be putting together a boilerplate template of best practices in the new world of COVID and events. And then the template will be free and open to anyone who wants to plan an event to use once we're done with it.
That's really cool, too. I mean, it's nice to just collaborate and see what other people are doing, because then it sparks ideas for you, too.
Exactly. And I mean, California has been in a different reopening stage than some of the other areas in the nation.
Right.
But in the event industry specifically, we can now kind of predict what our reopening will look like in California based on what other state agencies have done.
Okay.
And I'm looking at like some of my friends in Kentucky who are looking at doing a cycling event and the hoops they jump through to predict the hoops I'll have to jump through.
Right.
And then applying their reopening guide to what we can use in Concord.
Wow. Your wheels must spin just day and night.
Daily.
So you had also mentioned earlier that you lived in Japan.
Yeah.
What? Tell us about that. What was that all about?
It was amazing. I love Japan. I highly recommend that everyone goes there and checks it out. It's just a beautiful country. The food's so good. Everything's fresh.
Yeah.
But it was an experience of a lifetime. So like I said before, I found my place in the event world. I was planning on becoming a teacher. And so my sophomore year of college, I was like, well, I'm going to get an internship in teaching. Let's make sure this is something I want to do. And so I found this program called Camp Adventure. And you get trained for a year, and then you spend 3 months working on a military base running children. And I just have to say, like, from that experience, like living on base and the lifestyle, you always respect the men and women serving overseas. But just tenfold, I respect it so much more now. The sacrifices they make, along with the sacrifices the families make. I had, students and kids in my camp who were living with their neighbors because one or both parents were deployed from Japan to another area. And so it was really a life-changing experience. It was fun and cool and just humbling. It was really, really special.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And that's most of my friends from that program are in the Bay now.
Oh,
And
okay.
one of my bosses, I found out from that program, she's a Concord resident.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So
That is
hello.
a small world.
What?
That's a small world.
I know it. I posted one of the Concord Connected videos on like my personal Facebook page, and she was like, "Lisa, you live in Concord?" I was like, "Yeah." So it was really cool.
How funny.
Yeah, such a world.
So City Concord said, let's make sure this is something I want to do. Hashtag internships. I I always preach internships because
Yeah.
I started interning at Sun Valley when I was in high school, a senior in high
Mhm.
school, and interned there for quite some time afterwards.
Yeah.
And it really does solidify what you want to do. Like, I feel like then going through school, everything I was learning, I was experiencing at the same time.
Yes.
So it definitely does make a difference that, okay, this is what I want to do, or this isn't what I want to do, which
Yeah.
is a huge thing too to discover.
Exactly. And that's like, even though Camp Adventure was so amazing, I realized that summer I wasn't going to be the best teacher, you know? And right after that, I'd been dabbling in events in my sorority and like hosting these sisterhood activities. And I was like, I think this is what I
Yeah,
wanted.
I think I like this.
I think I love this. And then finding another internship and, going from being a front desk staff to, interning as an event planner for 2 years, I was like, okay, now I really know this is what I want to do. And I'm going to go as hard as I can for it and,
Yeah,
and just immerse myself in the industry. So I
yeah,
highly recommend internships to everyone.
absolutely. Because of my internship is how I met Marilyn Fowler, who used to be the former president and CEO of the chamber.
Yeah.
So it all
It
interconnects.
all circles back.
Visit Concord said Thursday's National Intern Day. Good to know.
Good to know. I like it.
I do
Shouts to
too.
all interns.
So, Lisa, you started with the city when? January?
February.
February. Okay, so you're new to the role and
Yeah.
a lot has changed.
Yeah.
So, what Lisa would have been in charge of is basically all the events in downtown Concord, correct? Well, shelter in place has kind of put a little bit of a hiccup on that. But even just starting your new role and then going right into a shelter in place, I'm sure it's hard to connect with people and get to know your colleagues and really make those relationships with your department. So,
Mhm.
what was that like? Were you still able to connect virtually?
Yeah, so it's been a wild ride. I mean, I went from being completely immersed in in permitting and running analysis on how we were doing events and the process to events can't happen.
Right.
And I was very, very fortunate that first month to get to know my economic development team so well,
They're a great team.
build those strong relationships. And I think the silver lining in all of this is, in a different sense, I've adapted my role with the city. I'm supporting communications more, and I'm leading a building community task force and utilizing skill sets in a different way. But that's also opened up the door to get to know a different set of colleagues that I might not have worked as closely with.
Right.
So I think that's my silver lining in all of this is, being on a communications ad hoc committee and working on that side. Whereas before I might have just sent their committee, hey, can you promote this event? Can you do
Right.
this?
That's a
So
good point. I never thought about it that way too.
yeah. And I will say, there's another side that could say I haven't worked with some of these other permit holders as closely as I would have.
Right.
But I'm excited to build those relationships in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like I've worked with you guys so much, like the Chamber and Visit Conquer and PSBA. We're constantly like, how do we make things
Yeah.
happen? New world we're living in. So that's been cool.
No, it's definitely been good. And it's probably helped too, you know, being so closely working together with everyone while
Yeah.
you're trying to still kind of figure out, like, okay, what am I doing?
Yeah. And, we're all lost right now. We're all just
Absolutely.
figuring it out.
I mean, we just spent, what was it, an hour and a half today on a call where we were all like, okay, guys, like, what's next? What can we do
Yeah,
next? So we're all in it together. And that's the
we
best
are.
part, I think, too, about, well, I'm going to say it selfishly, about Concord is that we all work so well together that
Yes.
we know we can rely on each other and lean on each other and really make it the best experience that we can.
I agree 100%. It could be a very different experience. It could be, every organization looking out for themselves, but it's not. It's truly collaborative and
Yeah.
everyone wants to help each other. And like that's my favorite aspect of Concord is
Yeah,
the people and how we work well together and how we just want the community to be successful.
absolutely. So you've worked for other cities.
I have.
So tell us a little bit about that and differences that you've seen in those cities, but also what makes Concord unique versus those cities?
Yeah. So I worked for the city of Allen, and we did a number of events throughout the year. But our largest event had 90,000 people in attendance.
Whoa.
And there was really two of us who oversaw the event. And so it was this monster event, and it was interesting because it was a signature event for the city. I mean, it was the pride and joy of our council, and it was the pride and joy of like our Met and the people who lived there. And so it's just like so much pressure, and really like
Oh, yeah.
it needs to be perfect. Uh, and so that was always any conversation was Allen USA, Allen USA, Allen USA. And then in Santa Clara, we had true community events where it was just fun for people to come to, but we in a really an economic development tool. So we had an area of town that at the point you wouldn't want to walk through at night, and the police wouldn't really want to go to at night because it was not a good area to be in. And over the years, we started activating that, and then with events, bring 1,000 people down for a block party, 2,000 people down for a concert, and during those we bring developers. And then the developers would say, okay, the
Mm-hmm.
city's investing this much into this space, and they're bringing in an audience. So yeah, we'll build here, and we'll bring in some really restaurants and bars and breweries. And now Main Street is the coolest part of town. It's where everyone wants to be. It's where you want to go. And they're now going to look at moving that same program to a different part of town, and revitalizing a new part of Santa Clarita.
That's so smart.
And I think the really cool thing about Concord is it kind of combines those two. In music and market, at least, and from my understanding, it was saved by the community by passing the jug. That type of pride is similar to Allen USA. It is the pride and joy of the community. They love music and market. And so I need to make it perfect. But also, Todos Santos Plaza is going to benefit from any events we bring down. It's an economic development driver. And so I get to use kind of both in Concord. And so I think
That's
I
really
think
cool.
that's what is exciting is it combines everything into one.
Yeah. And you've
Yeah.
had experiences in both. So for you, you're like,
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah. And that
Right.
was like, you know, looking at it at the city and like this is exactly what I want to do. This is perfect. Am I frozen?
I can still hear you, but your screen is spinning. Well, see, guys, it's that technology today.
Oh,
I
sorry.
already,
Technology.
no, you're fine. At the very beginning of all this, I had to hang up too because someone called me and it kicked me out of Instagram. Can you hear us?
Oh no. I can't hear you. I'm losing you a bit.
All right, let me Technology is great, but sometimes you have a little bit of a hiccup, everyone.
Yeah.
While we're
All right,
getting Lisa
I can
back, if you guys, you back? I can't see you. You're still, there we go. While we're kind of going through this, why don't you guys, if you have a favorite event that you've been to in Concord, put it in the comments, whether it be Music Market, the Farmers Market, Concord Vibe. Empire Barbershop's been very involved with Concord Vibe. Um, Pavilion events, if you guys have gone to concerts, we want to hear in the comments what events you guys have loved in Concord. All right, Lisa, now I can see
so
you,
we're
but I can't hear you. Oh, there we go.
see you and hear you now. All right, let's we got this.
So I was just asking everyone while we were getting you back on to put in the comments what their favorite events were. So Daniel said
Yeah,
Music on the Park Rocks. Oh, Oktoberfest. That was a good one.
excited for that.
Always love Music and Market, but also been loving Concord Lives throughout the city. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, that Caroline, you're the best. That's actually on my list of questions for her. Um, Concord Live, obviously we can't have events in downtown. So you guys have adapted into the virtual world. So talk about Concord Live and what it is.
Yeah, so Concord Live is a virtual event series that happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. And really our idea behind it was we wanted to engage the community. We recognize that events are the fabric that tie our community together. And it's that emotional connection that happens. It's where you enjoy music with your loved ones or meet your future loved ones. It's just special. And so if we can't physically come together, how do we make that virtual? And
Mm-hmm.
through live events, people can still have an organic connection in the comment section. They can still connect to a local business. And so that was really our idea behind it was let's give the community something fun, a way to interact with each other, and let's highlight some of our, local businesses who need the love right now too. And how can we all help each other during this time and make it an experience?
So what
everyone
type of lives have you done?
We've done,
Uh,
sorry?
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So we've done, we had Luna on,
Lisa, you're breaking up a little bit still.
Habib to make dinner and to teach you how to make. Oh, I am?
A little bit.
Hello? Okay, should I join?
No, I think you're good now. Now I can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, we had Luna on to teach you how to make a Transform FX Fitness, run fitness classes. We've had the Concord Art Association. We have an ongoing partnership with them. So they've had monthly artists on to teach art classes. We really just want to hit all different interests for people. And a lot of local bands too. So that's been fun.
Yeah, the local bands have been great.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Big shout out to Concord Couch Concerts.
Yes. What is this Thursday's live?
This Thursday is a fitness class with Transform FX.
Okay. You guys get ready to get your fitness on Thursday night at 6.
You gotta get that heart pumping, work out.
Caroline said, I love the one with Luna. Habib was such a great chef. That one was long, but Habib was so thorough with what he was explaining how to cook. You really learned how to cook that night.
Like, I learned how to make pasta and I learned how to make my own dried tomatoes. Like,
right?
That's
His was great.
I had me smiling the whole time.
Yeah, same. Habib, I think you're watching. We love yours.
We love you.
So, working for the city obviously is a government type of role, and you've worked for a few cities. So, what advice do you have someone who's thinking about maybe getting into the government role, and how you can ease into it and understand how it really works?
Yeah. So I think my experience is pretty different than an engineer experience, or in like parks and recreation experience, because I'm so specialized. But I think the commonality in all government work is the why, and the why we're there is community service. We're there working for the community. We want it to be the best experience possible, whether that be building inspection or a day camp or an event. And so if you know your why and that's being service driven, then that's going to get you into a government.
That's a good way to
So
look at it.
I think that's my best. Yeah.
And that's obviously helped you through. I mean, you're in Concord
Yeah.
now. Now you're set for
That's
life.
changed. Yeah. Yeah, you got to know why you're doing it, and that's got to align with the vision of the organization.
Which is true for a lot of organizations too.
Yeah.
You know, I say this probably every week, but when I first started at the chamber, I didn't quite understand what a chamber was. I was right out of college coming into this position, but now I am
Uh-huh.
so behind with what our mission is and what we do is I can't turn it off. And all my friends are
Yeah.
always like, "Can you just turn it off for the weekend?" And I'm like, "No, I can't." I mean,
It's
even
so
on
hard.
Saturday, we were working.
Yeah, always answering like city type questions. Like someone will be like, "Oh, why is it that way?" And I was like, "Well, there's a
Let
reason
me
for
tell
everything."
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if you could bring one event to Concord, despite COVID, whatever it may be, we could gather, we could bring 90,000 people in. What would your one event be?
This is the hardest question. Oh man. Like, I want to bring everything to Concord. I want to bring the Super Bowl to Concord, right? Like
Oh,
I want to do it
nice.
all. Um, but I think Concord would dig like a big music festival, you know. But we'll
Bottle Rock
see.
style?
I still want to, gather information. I have other ideas rolling. I have like ideas about block parties and all these different things. So you just gotta wait and see.
Count us in for a block party. Absolutely.
Yeah, their block parties are so fun. We used to do a block party every month. And so I used like once a year I would do like a beach block party and I would bring street and like
That sounds like a lot of
fans and
fun.
tiki torches and right in time.
All right, Kevin in the comments, he's our boss. I want to do a block
All
party
right.
with a beach. Lisa and I are going to
All
pull it
right,
off.
let's do it.
Andrea said yes, thinking big. Super Bowl Concord.
Yes. Thank you, Andrea.
What is your favorite aspect of Concord?
I think I said it before, but it's really been the people for me. Like, I love Santos Plaza, and I think, I can't wait to really activate the space. But so far,
Yeah.
everyone I've worked with has been incredible. And being new and being in it during a pandemic, it's a tough time for people personally. And I've only been met with just like grace and kindness from everyone from, the TSBA, which has all these, small business, everyone there super nice and ready to work together, to you guys at the chamber, to visit Concord, to my colleagues at the city, and every community member I met, even permit holders who want to host their event have been understanding about our restrictions that I'm so thankful to be here, and that's by far my
Yeah.
favorite aspect.
It does. It makes a difference too.
Yeah, it does. It makes a huge difference.
Warm Sunflower, I like your handle. Says, I'm truly missing the farmer's market. That is my favorite part of the summertime. I think you and everyone else in the city are, but you guys can still go to the farmer's market, I think, at Concord High School. I
You
know it's not the
can.
same, but still there.
Yes. Yeah. Concord High School. Check it out. Support the farmers. They're wonderful.
So you're a young professional. What's your experience like being a young professional in the Bay Area, in Concord, and in government?
Yeah. Um, it's honestly it's been great so far. Um, Especially I can't speak for the Bay Area as a whole, but Concord specifically, we have such a cool team with of people who have been in the industry for years and understand local government. I have a good understanding of local government, but like my supervisor guy, he's been on council, and that type of insight is just invaluable. And so being a young professional, I feel like any time in your life, whether you're, about to retire or just starting out, there's always room to learn more.
Yeah.
And you should always be learning and growing. Right now, I'm just soaking in everything I can from, Andrea to Guy to, you know, you and Ben and Elaine, and everyone I work with around the city, knowledge there and a brain trust that I just want to soak in and learn everything I can.
Yeah. That's a good, I mean, gosh, I think all of us are still learning through this. Earlier you
Yeah.
mentioned about having a mentor. So
Mm-hmm.
how did you find your mentor, and do you still communicate with them?
Yeah, definitely. I feel pretty fortunate. I've had a few mentors who I talk to pretty regularly, and I met them through the IFPA. So the
Okay.
surgeon program, it's an international conference program. Um, and my first year there, um, as a newcomer, they offered to do a mentor day, and
Oh,
you sit down with someone who is. I sat down my first time with. He was a city manager at another city, and I was local government in Allen and running the 90,000 person event, and he did a 500,000 person event, right? So I'm just like, give all the information. You there?
yes.
Where did it cut me off?
You were talking about the
Melissa?
$500,000 or $500,000 event, the
Oh,
500,000 person event.
yeah. Yeah. So he sat down with, he just answered all my questions and he gave me advice on how, maybe I was having issues at the time and how I could approach subjects differently. And, I went from working for a university, we were public, but we were treated like a private organization where you didn't need all these approvals. And you could just,
Right.
if you had an idea, you just did it. And then you worked at a city where you have an idea and you take that the chain and you go and make sure that it's approved on all these different levels. Um, and he explained to me why that was so important and why that was part of the process. And that changed everything for the better. And I was like, we're friends for fact. And throughout the years, I've connected with other people who I really admire um, and just kept in contact with.
No, it's good
Always
too.
have
I
a
mean,
mentor.
sometimes all you need is that conversation, even just to bounce an idea off of, like, hey, I have this idea. I just need to talk it through.
Exactly. And I mean, I every part of life, even, when I was brought in the industry to being almost like 7, 8 years in now, I still am like, how can I improve and who can I really trust to have an unbiased conversation, just get honest feedback from. And that's what a mentor do
Right.
for you.
And it's nice too because sometimes if you've had someone that's been in the industry for a while, you know, events have changed. Events have changed,
Yeah.
I'm sure, since you've been in it, and
Oh, yeah.
technology and how you go about everything, that sometimes,
Hmm.
you're learning, they're learning too. So you just need that person to be there with you.
Oh, yeah. And it makes such a difference. It's so great. And like the best part is too, you learn from other people's mistakes in our industry, right? So we have
Absolutely.
like a class at IFEA, which is like basically the how we messed up class, but in less polite terms. And you sit there and you hear these stories and you're like, oh my gosh, but you learn from all of those so you never make those mistakes. And that's what you get in
Right.
like a mentor do is he'll tell me, he was like, oh no, I tried that once. Like, go on, do it. But you could try it
Don't
this
do
way.
it.
you
This
know.
is how I would have done it.
Yeah, looking back now. And then I'll circle back after and be like, okay, this worked well, but let's change here, here, and here, you know?
Yeah, we still need to change it. But hey,
Yeah,
again, that's why you have those conversations with these people.
exactly. And I don't, for me, it's all about the connections and conversations and the people, and especially in being in the event world and the government world. I'm always the first if I have a question from another city. I just look up the coordinator there and call them. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Let's talk. Let's talk.
Yeah,
So
that's good. I feel
yeah,
like a lot of people don't have that.
that's my rule.
So, all right, guys, before we wrap up with Lisa, if you have any questions for her, put them in the comments. But I forgot to ask you when we were talking about you living in Japan. For those who don't know, the city of Concord has a sister city called Kitakami that is in Japan that is comparable size, comparable structure wise. Did you go there without knowing?
Unfortunately, I didn't. I was actually in southern Japan.
Okay.
So it was probably like about like 16 hours away.
Wow, that's pretty far.
Yeah, I looked at the location before our interview because I was like, maybe
But now
I
you can go back.
I know. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go back.
That's so
Got
funny. You're like, it's a little bit further away than you think.
yeah. Japan's like really long.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, anyone, if you don't have any more questions, be on the lookout. Lisa's all over social media too. She does the great Concord Connected updates where she kind of goes over what's been going on or what's coming up. Definitely check out their Instagram, their Facebook, their Twitter. They're constantly updating everything so you guys know what is coming up. They have shifted. They've done a great job on their virtual events. 6 o'clock, get your workout gear on so you can go work out with them. What's next
Yes.
week's?
Um, to be announced.
Oh, she's keeping it a
Oh.
surprise.
As
All right,
soon as
well,
you'll be the first to know.
oh, great.
All right.
Maybe I'll slip it out to you guys. All
Perfect.
right, everyone. If there's no other questions, thank you, Lisa, for coming on. We
Thank you.
definitely enjoyed talking to you and getting to know you.
It was wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. All right. Bye, everyone. Enjoy your Mondays, and we will see you next week.
Thanks.
Bye.